So, for those that are watching, thanks for tuning in, especially Logan. Anyways, I decided to do a long format video on Nvidia versus AMD. There are fanboys that support Nvidia, and there are fanboys that support AMD. It's personal preference at this point. It's also comes down to your use case and what you want to get out of the card, what your budget is. Are you a casual gamer? Are you just somebody that has something around the house that you tinker around with? Are you a 3D printer that uses Fusion or CAD or something? You have to do designs for your 3D printing. All those different types of things that go in there. Is your PC multi-use? Do you work from home? Do you have your own business? All of those things go into the decisions when I say or recommend whatever cards you want to get fit the use case and fit the budget. You should never, ever, ever buy anything that's going to sacrifice or put you at risk of losing, like your rent payment or your mortgage or any of that stuff. You live below your means, build below your means, but make sure you can future-proof your box. Now, if you have a great budget and you want certain things to be met, then by means, do whatever you want. I have been blessed, so I've been able to get a few things in here. So let me clarify a couple things before we dig into the details and the nitty-gritty, okay? I do have a MSI liquid-cooled 4090 card. I've done testing on it. I have a Asus 4080 card. I had a 3090 and I have a 7900 XTX. So I've been able to do internal comparisons on a lot of these. So when I speak to what my personal experience is, I can say on the higher end, which ones I've seen better performance with and which ones might be better for budget for casual people or any of the like. Okay. But the other thing I'm going to also come in here and quantify is because a lot of people, you don't know what you're talking about. Before I do anything, I make sure I do my research and I go through reputable sites. I could look at pricing. I collect my data. I collect my citations, just like I'm in college or something. So I have all my references and I can go out and I can reference these, and these will all be in the description in the video that posts to YouTube later. For whoever wants to go check them out. There's going to be a lot of them, and it's going to be interesting, but that's okay. So let's get back to here. A year plus ago, I posted a 60-second video, because I want a YouTube Shorts. I'm trying to get YouTube Shorts, and this thing keeps coming back. I love it and I hate it at the same time, because I put down here in the thing about stop line PC builders, stop line about the 4090 and the RTX 4080, because what was going on, I was in multiple different streams for various streamers that were sponsored by various PC builds, pre-built systems. And what they were being told was that the RTX 40 was not worth it, and that they should just go with the 3090, when there were several articles at the time that came out on WCFF Tech, videos, hardware sites, and a few like PC World and stuff. I try to stay away from PC World, but every now and then that were surfacing about a lot of the builders trying to clear out their RTX 30 series supply before they started pushing the RTX 40 series. This was also true for Nvidia. Nvidia got busted. They came in the news about it and everything else. So they're trying to clear out old stock before they did the sales on the new stock. Okay, not a problem. But at the same time, you should not lie to full-time content creators, video editors, photo editors that depend on performance, stability, and efficiency of hardware. Okay, so what I mean by that is you've got, say, I'm Joe Blow, and my full-time gig is I am trying to do video editing full-time, right? And I need to get out 2 videos a day. I work for 2 or 3 different streamers, and I get 2 or 3 videos sent to me every day. Okay, and if I'm using a 30 card versus my 3090 versus the 4090, taking roughly 2.5-3 hours of stream footage. I have timestamps, and I come through and I knock down and just immediately clean out all that stuff. And then I started adding in layers. I'm starting to add in some animations and transitions and maybe a B-roll here or something. I'm not that good. I'm not that great, but I'm just saying some of the things that they go through. And then they have to encode that. And depending on the length of the video, if it's a 60-second video, it doesn't take a whole long time. If it's a 20-minute video, a 30-minute video, 40-minute video, I know some people, depending on the resolution at which was filmed and sent over, that can take hours, okay? And when you're talking the difference between being able to use AV1, which DaVinci Resolve does support, and things like Affinity Photo, Publisher, and Design supports. I got bad news for you, Adobe Apple Premiere people. They don't support it. If you don't believe me, you can go check it out. Adobe does not support AV1 natively. There's a $90 app add-on that you can get third party. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Go hit the forums, go Google search, go to Adobe forums. You're going to see all these developers are really ticked off that it doesn't work because they don't see the AV0 format. But what that does for those that do is you're averaging between 30 and 40% more efficiency in encoding and processing time. What that means is if I'm on a 30 series card, which is what this was meant to do, we're not even talking about our AMD on this one, but you can add AMD in here. This 60-second video didn't even talk about AMD because at that point when I made it, I don't even think the 7000 was out yet. It could have been close to it, but I was just focused on AMD 30 versus 40. 30 to 40% when you're looking at a 10-hour window, okay, 10 hours. If I've got 10 hours on the 30, it tells me it's going to take 10 hours using the RTX 30 versus 7 hours on a 4080 or 6 hours on a 4090. By the way, that's true numbers. I tried on all three videos, same video, all three different cards, right? That's around your performance change. You are looking at hours saved. Now, if you are a full-time video editor and you're able to shave off, we'll just go the low end and 30%, 3 hours off of one project, allowing you either to do work on the other project that you might have to get out that day, or free it up the time, because your time is your money. You pay yourself the more time that you're sitting by with your thumbs twiddling because your system is just bogged down and you can't really do much. That's a loss. Or if you're trying to do a 9 to 5 schedule, 8 to 10 hours a day, you have to do with the editing, the transitions, and all this stuff, the emails back and forth, the Skype, the Discord, whatever it might be for communications, and you have to get all those edits put in there and everything. Your time is very, very precious. This becomes even more escalated if you're working for streamers that are doing day one activities for new games or a new raid, and they want to get videos out like Moxie does for Diablo 4 when it came out. He was rushing to get those videos out, 2 or 3 videos a day. Now, they might be the most detailed videos, the most polished, but you're trying to hammer out video after video, right? Or like if you're doing a Destiny 2 raid day one, you're competing with all these other people, and you got people like Astacross. He's got a video editing team. He gets the day one segment in there, and they're not pushing the video by, we're just going to wait till the raid's done. He might do a full raid, which he usually does, but they break it down by the section because they want to get the views and they need to get those videos up there. So they're taking that raw footage, the video editing team, whoever's on it, is processing and looking at cleaning up some of the stuff and then getting it posted. Time is essential at that point. And if you're looking at a processing proficiency change of 30 to 40% on time saved, that is a huge, huge value to dedicated full-time content creators and video editors or animators, whatever you want to talk about. That's what the point of this little short video was. Now, if you want to come back to and you want to talk about tit for tat, then what we can talk about is, what's in your budget, what are your use cases, whatever it might want to be. And it is very imperative that you do your research. As I said at the beginning of the video, know what your use cases are, know what you're going to use it for. Most games out there, most gaming systems, you don't even need the latest gen. You can run off of a 30 or a 6000 series just fine. I would honestly, at this point, with a lot of the stuff being in the budget where they're at, the 4060 was announced as the most readily consumed card, $300. It might not be more powerful than, say, the 7600 XT when it comes out. However, if you look at the video Jay's 2 cents did on, I think it's this one here. I think I have it up in the browser, actually. Jay's assistant did a video breakdown on how the 7600 XT is going to be using software to help bolster its numbers to make it perform better. So keep that in mind. But there we go. But again, if you have the budget, and if you're asking me what I put in, if you were to ask me what I would use or recommend for most people, I'm probably going to go with the 4800 Super. Okay, a lot of the league benchmarks are already showing that the 4070 Super is going to perform on par against the 7900 XT. So I can only assume that the 4080 Super, when we see those benchmarks, is going to actually go toe-to-toe with the 7900 XTX. I don't know how AMD is going to counter that. I know that, like, Starfield, hit and miss game. I love the game. I wish it wasn't dying, dead, or... I still play it, but you know what I mean? I wish the planets had more to them, but they made a bunch of patches and updates to it, and all of a sudden, because they were doing performance enhancement, and they actually added true DLSS support instead of just support for AMD, didn't make any sense when it launched, because you'll find some games work better with AMD, some work better with Nvidia. Like Borderlands is definitely an AMD game versus an Nvidia, just because they have a better understanding working in relationship with the driver and software. But they made some updates to Starfield, and all of a sudden the 4080 and the 4090 started kicking the crap, performing just super well, and started dethroning 7900 XT. So you're going to see that across the board. For the average person at home, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if you're gaming and streaming from the same rig. If you have a 4070 card or better, you're going to be fine. If you have a 7800 XT, I think you're going to be fine. I can't speak about the 7600. I've never used one, so I can't tell you for sure. But, yeah. Long story short, again, I would recommend probably at the end of the day, for people that have a decent budget, a 4080 Super. The 4070 Super at $600 is a pretty good value, but a 4060 at $300 if you're on a really tight budget. 4060 is going to get you through a lot of the stuff. There's not many games. You're not going to be able to run like Cyberpunk or something at full res or any of that. But the other thing is, if you are a streamer, you definitely want to have a 7000 series card or a RTX 40 card, okay? And the reason for that, as you can see in here, the AVI support as of OBS Studio 29 beta, and then AVI 29, and then 30, they made some improvements that allows AV1 encoding. You're getting a much better, and this is where the guys that do all the video editing are complaining to Adobe, because a lot of the streamers are using this now. You're getting a 30 to 40%, it's closer to 40% performance increase for your end of the system, especially now that Twitch is supporting AV1. It was kind of funny. People asked me my thoughts on it. A year ago, I said it, and I said it again. AV1, back in my day when I was a kid, long time ago, you had VHS versus beta, right? VHS won out. For a lot of you that don't know what that was, VHS is the predecessor to a DVD. Movies used to come on these huge tape cartridges, and there was two different formats. VHS won out, okay? And then CD, and then DVD. This is what that came down to. There's not enough. AV1's been around for a long time, so it's already been developed. It's already got some stuff in there, and Twitch has wanted to do something else because they wanted to go for the 8K window. Well, there's not enough support for that, or it wasn't. And they finally came out last month and say, hey, we're going to let you guys use AV1. AV1 lessens the burden on your upload, okay? Because less bit rate, better compression, less stress on your GPU, and better utilization of the CPU partnering with the GPU, okay? All around, much better, especially if you are a single system streamer, meaning you game and stream from the same system. The difference is pretty noticeable. So keep that in mind. DaVinci Resolve, which is free, supports AV1. It has a different workflow from Adobe Premiere. That's why some of the people from Adobe Premiere are like, I don't want to move to Premiere. But since Adobe is dragging its feet on adopting AV1, you're seeing some people move over just because, as I said before, at the end of the day, content editors, video creators, people that jobs, their full-time thing is dependent upon, can I get this done in this certain window of hours? How much money do I have to spend? Am I going to be okay if it takes me 24 hours? Or do I have to get it done in 12? How many projects do I have to get done? Animators are looking the same thing. I mean, there's designs. People are working on 3D printing stuff, and they've turned that into a full-time job, and they have to do scanning. They have to do revisions to their prints. They're using CAD or Fusion 360, any of those different things. That's all compute heavy. They need to get the maximize and most efficiency out of whatever hardware they have. That's what this is saying. I'm not saying that it's not expensive. $2,000 for a 4090 card is expensive. But I want to point something out too. This was all based off of a lot of the AI push. It's been a roller coaster. When crypto changed, prices dropped. I only paid $1,600 for my 4090 card. $1,600. I lucked out, I waited, and I found it. As soon as they hit regular MSRPs, I was able to get one, and it was an MSI Liquid Cool. I was very, very happy. I know several people that got 4090s, and they were able to get them between $1,500 and $1,700. Still expensive compared to the $1,000 7900 XT X, but for what they were looking at and what they're trying to accomplish, they very much were satisfied with that pricing, especially long term. When you've got video content creators out there and editors that are charging $100 to $300 an hour, if they can free up 3 hours a day, say they're charging $100 an hour, people, I wouldn't charge an hour. There are people out there that charge that much. You need, if you're gonna, don't believe me, go check out this guy named Sam Woodall. He started doing this new thing on it. He showed some of it. He interviewed another video creator that does amazing work. It caused me doing some Google work on it. It had to be a different video, but I can just push you to him because he can talk about it. He can address all that stuff. But when you first start out, you have content video editors that might undersell themselves or undervalue themselves because they're trying to make a name. They're trying to get work. They're trying to just have stuff that they can work on so they can learn, grow, and develop their own skill sets. But if you're charging $100 an hour and I can save $300, I can save 3 hours on one project to start 3 hours on another project. And I'm telling the first guy, hey, okay, this video is going to take me 10 hours to do. I'm billing you for 10 hours. That's the time, the knowledge, everything else. And I can get that done in 7. The first guy doesn't know I did it in 7. I'm still billing for 10. This is how business works. Okay, y'all. And then I have another 3 hours that I've freed up because I have better performing hardware. I can start on another project. If I'm making $100 an hour, that's an extra $300. And when you're looking at if that's your sole livelihood and you're trying to take care of your family, if you have a family or even a single source income or a house and it's just you and maybe a dog or a cat or something like that. I'm a dog person, by the way, but that every dollar makes a difference. So is there an upfront cost to a 4090? Yes. Will it pay for itself long term? Yes. Also, a lot of these people that are getting the 4090 cards and these content creators that do it full time, it's a tax write-off. It's an expense. Okay, so you also have to remember that. Us people that do casual gaming and everything, it's a little bit different. I can't write this stuff off. And people are like, well, if you're not a full-time content creator, because I have a day job and everything, why did you get a 4090? I love AI, machine learning, data science, all of that stuff. And I push pretty hard what my systems will do. The system on my left here is a 7900 XT or 7950 X3D paired with the 4090, 128 gigs of RAM. And some of the stuff that I push onto it from the AI tools and the data sets that I'm using is pretty intensive. Okay. So with that said, bear in mind, it's, I think it was worth it to myself in the long run to go with the 4090. Okay. That's where it's at. I will put all this stuff in the links down below. You can see right down here. We can expect to see some more price dropping on both sides of the fence on Nvidia and AMD. There were sanctions put against from the US put against China that said Nvidia had to lessen. They had to provide a lesser value GPU to China because there's an AI race to AI who can have the biggest, baddest AI system on the market. And so that caused it. AMD's starting to push and Intel as well, but will they have the same sanctions? I'm not sure, but some of the articles down here will talk about it and things like that. TSMC, which is one of the semiconductor companies, was already stated by NVIDIA is not able to keep up with the production demand that NVIDIA was pushing. So NVIDIA is actually sourcing to another semiconductor business. I think both of them. There's three major ones. I'm not going to name the names, Micron and everything else. But so you're going to see an increase, which as more availability comes in there, supply and demand, if you have more supply, prices are going to come back down more to MSRP levels. And given the fact that you can't take those cards into China, you're seeing you're not even seeing the scalpers on them anymore because they just can't take them into the country. But let me know below what you guys are using, which video cards, if you're a full-time creator, what you prefer if you have a 4090 or 4080. You don't have to have the 4090, by the way. It's not what I'm saying that you need to have the 4090. It is much more powerful. It is proven if you go look at the benchmarks across the boards, pricing, impact. Gamers Nexus does a great job. They already updated all these things. You can see still against different games, different performances, things like that. Yes, the 7900 is pretty much up there. But if you need a powerful card, and you want to spend $1,000, wait for the 4080 Super benchmarks to come out, and then you can compare the 4080 Super to the 7900 XT. And before someone says, "Oh, your 40,000 series card is going to melt," my brother had a 7900 XTX. You can ask him. I saw it. It put it in the box and the dang thing melted. They were, at the time, those cards are new, both the RTX 40 series and the 7000 series, because of design issues, had heat problems, fire problems. Are they fixed 100%? No. But they're getting better. Drivers have been updated. Firmware's been updated. All these things have been taken care of. Plugins. I did custom plugs. It just comes down to it. Now, as I said before at the very beginning of the video, it's preference. What's your budget? What are your use cases? Let me know in the comments below what you're using, what you're excited for, and what games you're looking forward to. Maybe make some game recommendations to me because I'm hurting for games. Anyways, I got to get out of here. I don't want this video to go super long. It's already at 23 minutes. I'm going to try to go edit it and save some time and clips out of it, but probably won't. So y'all stay safe out there, stay cool, and I will see you in another stream later this evening. Thank you all.